I don't want to interrupt. I'm not in charge of anything here. However, in the back of the room, I did find what looks like a receipt.
Small towns mean that you wait for the media. What would they say in Chicago? I don't know. I don't care. Let us know, Brenda. Andrew? Okay. Welcome to the Candidate Forum hosted by the League of Women Voters of Aurora, Elgin, and Central Kane County. My name is Patty Lackman, and I am from the League of Women Voters of Central Kane County. I want to thank Mayor Schelke for affording us the opportunity to use this wonderful room. I also would like to thank my friend Andrew, sitting over there in the booth from BATV, for airing our forum. At this time, I would like to introduce our moderator, Jan Dorner, who is sitting up here because I moderated for her league in Elmhurst last week, and she let me sit in a comfortable chair instead of standing at the podium, so I felt guilty. So, without any further ado, I want to introduce Jan Dorner. Thank you.
Thank you. As Patty said, my name is Jan Dorner. I'm a member of the Elmhurst League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that neither supports nor opposes candidates or parties for any office. The League's purpose is to promote political responsibility through the informed and active participation of citizens in government. Providing this forum allows citizens to become better informed about the issues facing their community and to become better acquainted with the candidates running for office. We are happy to provide this service for the community. The League of Women Voters is not responsible for verifying the accuracy of the statements that candidates make in this forum. At this time, I would ask that you please turn off cell phones and other electronic devices. I would also ask that you refrain from applauding or in any ways demonstrating support or opposition of a candidate. No campaign literature may be passed out in this room, but feel free to put your campaign bling on again once you leave this room. Note cards and pencils have been provided on which the audience may submit your questions. Questions will be screened only for duplication, clarity, and appropriateness for the office being discussed. Also, the sorters will not give me any questions for only one candidate. You have to write your question for both candidates. Please signal a League volunteer when your question is ready for submission. Also signal a volunteer if additional note cards are needed. Realize that we may not get to all questions. This forum is for the candidates running for the offices of Kane County Auditor, Kane County Coroner, Kane County Board District 2, 10, 12, 14, Kane County Board Chair. All of the candidates participating have agreed to abide by the rules set forth prior to this forum. The League has an empty chair policy for forums. If an opponent has not agreed to participate or backs out at the last minute, the candidate who has agreed to participate and follow the rules of the forum will be afforded the opportunity to present their platform for up to 3 minutes. The candidate will not be allowed to answer questions from the audience. The candidates participating in this forum this evening will each present a 1-minute introductory statement, the order determined alphabetically by last name. Then questions will be asked, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond in alternating order. Closing statements in continuing alpha rotation will also be 1 minute. League members will keep time, and candidates will strictly adhere to the time limits. Candidates, please notice the timers. When you see the stop sign, you may finish your sentence. Our candidates for this part of the forum, it's for the Kane County Auditor, and our candidates are Gretchen Butler and Penny Wegman. So let's start with candidate Butler's opening statement.
Madam, may I ask a question of you?
No, that's not how we do business here.
Well, I want to ask a question.
Well, you can write. Okay. You can write it down. You cannot ask it like this.
I'm asking the person, not the candidate.
You're not.
Candidate Butler will start with her opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Gretchen Butler. I'm a wife and mom of 3 young adults that live in this area. They go to school, work in this area. So this area is very important to me. I have 25 years business experience, some of that owning our own hardware store, managing all the financials, been a project manager currently, and just feel like I'm qualified for this position. The things I'm going to focus on first and foremost is looking at all the small and medium-sized transition audits that are being done outside of the office, bringing those in, providing nonpartisan leadership across party lines, and then lastly, making myself available to hold educational sessions. We have a great portal that demonstrates transparency and authenticity, making myself available to groups that want to dive in a little more and want to learn more and be able to use that tool efficiently.
Thank you. Candidate Wegman, your opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the invitation and ability to speak tonight. I'm Penny Wegman, the Kane County Auditor. For the past 40 years, I've called Elgin my home. In 2016, I received my MBA from Keller Graduate School and began serving on the Kane County Board, where I served on numerous committees that afforded me the opportunity to gain knowledge and experience with county codes, policies, and state statutes, as well as understanding of how the county board operates. Since 2020, I have served as a Kane County auditor. To date, we have increased access to the online county checkbook, developed an internship program, identified and helped the county board close policy gaps, and created a purchase card audit process that increased transparency and increased revenue. My office has worked to increase transparency in the county, most recently receiving the Innovator Award from the International Association of Government Officials. We've accomplished a lot in the last 4 years, but we are not done yet. I'm Penny Wegman, and I am asking for your vote November 5th.
Thank you. The first question goes to candidate Wegman. What are the 3 primary responsibilities of the auditor?
3 primary responsibilities. Well, we audit all claims against the county. That's a huge one for us. It takes up most of our time. We are the holder of all the contracts in the county, and we do the quarterly reports.
Thank you. Candidate Butler, same question.
I think first and foremost is the responsibility to the people of Kane County and giving transparency to all expenses and things that are in the budget. I think also making sure that everything on the website and on that portal is accurate, and if there's more information needed, that's done. And then lastly, I think, of course, the audits, doing those in a timely manner.
Thank you. Candidate Butler, what skills do you contribute to the position of auditor that makes you the best person to fulfill those responsibilities?
I think 25 years business experience in several different sectors, from bookkeeping to managing projects to, I mentioned, we owned our own hardware store. I have a plethora of information as far as an experience managing people and of all ages, as well as education levels. So I think it's important to have the personality, the personal skills to be able to manage and interact with board members, county people. So I think that's important. And lastly, I just think I have what it takes to run the job.
Thank you. Candidate Wegman, same question.
Thank you. So my experience is that I've been doing this for the past 4 years. So I have the knowledge of what applies to the office, the laws associated with the position, the codes and the statutes and the policies of the county. I do bring an MBA, and just having been doing the job for the past 4 years and being on the county board for the prior 4 years. Additionally, I lived in Kane County for 40 years, so I understand everything that goes on in Illinois, the laws. That's the most important part of this job, is knowing the codes and the policies of the county.
Thank you. Candidate Wegman, why should voters care about the election of the auditor?
Ultimately, we have the most important role in the county. We see every piece of finance that goes through the county. We see all the bills. We are the independent aspect of the county. We have the ability to conduct audits without any interference from the county board or any other elected officials. Our job is to put the information out there. So it is, in my opinion, it is the most important position in the county.
Thank you. Candidate Butler, same question.
I think it's an extremely important role. It works very closely with the financial director as well as the treasurer's office. It works with county departments and leaders. So I think in order to have transparency, it does need to be an independent office. I think it does need to be elected. And the communication between those and knowing the statutes and working amongst the people to have transparency among the voters so that they know that the money is taken care of and it's watched properly.
Thank you. Candidate Butler, does the public misunderstand the responsibilities of the auditor? If there is misunderstanding, what can you say or do to correct this misunderstanding?
Well, I know when I've been out talking with people, it's not necessarily a misunderstanding. I think they just don't know in general what the auditor does. I don't know if it's one of those positions that they don't view as, not necessarily as not as important, but not as controversial or most, I guess, on the cutting edge with platforms. So I think making it clear that they are a part of a greater team and that they are trying to bring transparency to the office, and all the expenses are run through that office to validate against the budget and ultimately make that available to the public.
And Candidate Wegman?
I do think that there is a huge misunderstanding on what the role of the county auditor is. And one of the challenges on that misunderstanding is that the statute is set up in two different population categories. So as much as we try to provide clarification and submit information about the role, there's going to be confusion on the statute. We are compliance, we are not financial. So when there's only 16 county auditors in the state of Illinois and there's only 5 that fall into the population category of Kane County, it's an uphill battle to clarify what our role is. Some of the things that I have done as auditor is get out into some of the community organizations and speak on the issues. Also have gotten into some of the other auditor associations to gain better understanding and how we can deliver information.
Thank you. Candidate Wegman, as auditor, what goals do you want to accomplish during the upcoming 4-year term?
Sure. I'm so proud of all the things we've done in the past 4 years, but we're not done. So some of the things I want to continue to do is to continue to look at the internal controls of the county to report on deficiencies, continue to increase transparency. We've received an award, but that's not enough for my office. We're going to continue to complete all audits, small, medium, and large, that we have the statutory authority to do. Currently, we are working with purchasing and the finance department to look at updating outdated county financial policies, better defining the county travel policy, putting together and conducting updated procurement card training and accounts payable training, as well as the everyday auditing of accounts payable, where we are consistently diving deeper into purchases, invoices, and contracts to gain better understanding, which then leads to new audits and reports being completed.
Thank you. Candidate Butler.
I think first and foremost, looking at all the policies and procedures, including the audits, streamlining the efficiencies, looking for areas that can be improved. I mentioned earlier, providing nonpartisan leadership. I think it's really important, especially in a day and age where we're very polarized in our parties. I think it's important very much so to the citizens that it's not a political office, that it's something that is for the people, and we're basically protecting everybody's money in the sense of being transparent with it. And lastly, again, providing opportunities that there are people that want to know more and want to dig in deeper. I think making sure the website is up to date in a timely manner, and that all things are accessible.
Thank you. It doesn't look as if we have any questions from the audience. So we will move to closing statements, and Candidate Butler.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to just talk and give an opportunity for everybody to get to know us a little bit better. Like I said, I have 25 years business experience. My family is settled here. We have moved around a lot, but we've found our forever home. And so it's important to me that my kids have a place that they call home, that they feel like is a place for them. And so being involved in this I think is an important aspect of that. I've already mentioned my platforms and things that I want to work on, so I won't belabor that. But I would ask your consideration in voting Gretchen Butler as Kane County Auditor. Thank you.
And Candidate Wegman, your closing statement.
Once again, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight about the auditor's office and why I think I'm the candidate with the best position to continue the work we've done for the past 4 years. The auditor is not always the most popular position in the county, but it is one of the most important. It is a safeguard for the taxpayers to ensure that money spent by the county complies with all applicable laws and policies. When you look at what we've done in less than 4 years, we've really done a lot, and I am proud of our accomplishments. But we still have more to do, and I look forward to what the next 4 years brings. I'm Penny Wegman, and I ask for your vote November 5th.
So this part of the forum is over, and we can applaud these candidates. Thank you. Thank you.
Your opponent here? We'll take the county board or contested. Sorry.
This is for the board members. Okay. You just say the corner one.
Did you do these by?
Did, yes, so District 2, Berman, Notke. Yeah, you're going to do your 3 minutes with the others. Yep. District 2. It's District 2, Berman, Notke, Rivard, and Rowe.
Just the four of us?
Ricky Rivard.
Ricky Rivard.
That's all right.
Ricky Rivard.
I'm Bill.
Ricky. Have a good time, Bill.
Yep, good seeing you. Good luck.
Yeah, same to you, bro.
Yeah. Hey, Dan.
Order, I'm sorry, because we have a missing candidate, so we're gonna,
She's not here on time, so
we're gonna take you guys. Because her opponent only gets 3 minutes.
Hi, you touching stuff?
So happy to meet you.
Hi.
oh, hello, my hands are full. Nice to meet you, but I want to agree with you changing the format. Changing the format.
I know.
That's not right. Just because she didn't show up.
The last time, they wouldn't, if your opponent wasn't.
7:00.
Well, exactly, and that's what it says in their rules.
But they changed it.
We have hot mics.
No, it still says it in their rules. If the opponent doesn't show up, they have to speak.
Hot mic. Yeah.
When it's green, it's not.
Well,
There you go.
yes.
It is. It's totally on.
Are you good?
I think so.
Okay, we have moved on to Kane County Board districts. We have the candidate Dale Berman and Ellen Notke from District 2, and Ricky Rivard and William Roth from District 12. So let's start with candidate Berman, your opening statement. You have a minute.
Thank you. Good evening. And thank you to the League of Women Voters for this forum. I'm Dale Berman, the elected incumbent for Kane County District 2. Now, this is my third election in 4 years. The 2020 census made half of the elected board run again in 22. So 3 elections in 4 years is quite a content. My bride of 65 years, Mary, and I are fortunate to be part of the Super Agers. Google it. We are long past 80 and dedicated to staying active. Super Agers have many common beliefs. They believe age is a number. They believe in an active lifestyle. Stay active mentally and physically. Follow history and have a vision for the future. Be a social butterfly. Share with family and friends. Indulge. Enjoy a cocktail moderately. Now, Mary and I are grateful for our 4 daughters and our 9 grandchildren and the spouses. We have many friends that we've accumulated through work, community service, and time over the years. And my positive mental attitude has guided me in my long career of public service. My open-minded decision-making is based on learning the facts, then evaluating them in the best interest of all Kane County. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Ellen Notke, also running for District 2.
Good evening. Thank you for hosting this event tonight. I also want to thank my opponent, Dale Berman, for his 30-plus years of service to the community. My name is Ellen Notke, and for the past 34 years, I've called Batavia Township home. My late husband and I have always considered Kane County a great place to live, work, and raise our family. We raised our 2 daughters here and enjoy 3 wild and crazy grandsons. I am running as the Republican nominee for Kane County Board District 2. The district serves parts of Aurora Township, Western Batavia Township, parts of Blackberry Township, and the southwest tip of Geneva Township. I have walked every precinct in this district and have personally spoken with over 3,000 voters. I want to be a fresh voice representing the entire district, not just North Aurora. I'm running because I'm tired of the spend then tax method of county government. We need to rein in spending at the county and look for alternative methods of solving budget problems. I promise to represent the views of the entire district. I promise to be your common sense representative and bring common sense back to Kane County. Again, my name is Ellen Notke, and I'm running for County Board District 2. Please, I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Candidate Ricky Rivard from District 12, your opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Ricky Rivard. I'm the Democratic candidate for Kane County Board in District 12. I am running because I believe that an effective government can significantly improve the quality of life of its residents. It should provide support when necessary without overstepping its bounds. A government fosters a safe environment for individuals to grow, learn, and take risks without fear of failure is essential. My priorities include mental health, investment, pedestrian safety and accessibility, investment in our forest preserves, and safer streets. These issues transcend party lines. Our community is wonderfully diverse, and I will work with compassion and unity to ensure that marginalized groups are respected and valued. I see and hear our LGBTQ+ neighbors and the folks coming here to live better lives in our communities. Everyone should feel welcomed and safe without fear of reprisal for who they are or where they come from. Finally, the 12th District deserves a representative who respects, defends, and listens to all of its residents. Thank you. And if I can get a water.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know when to fit that in. Cheers. Yeah.
If I could open it.
I'll take one.
I left mine in the car.
Patty, could I get one too, please?
You're all welcome.
Bill, you need some water?
Yes. Patty Spring.
No, I can't open that.
Oh,
I have a little
Thanks.
rubber
There we go.
band at home that I use all the time.
We're on track.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I got one from Ellen. No,
you got- I got
I have a plethora of water.
you got more than one.
And District 12 candidate William Roth, your opening statement.
Thank you, Jan. My name is Bill Roth. I go by Bill. I've been in office less than 2 years. I ran in 22, and because of the luck of the draw, we're running again in 24. I ran 2 years ago on a platform of trying to bring normal back to politics. There's too much partisans on both the left and the right. When I got elected, one of the first things I did, I retired the day after so I can devote time to the office. I've been meeting with a majority of the county board members one-on-one to get to know them and try to work on whether a Republican or a Democrat and to find out which ones are willing to work. One of the first things I said to each member when I met with them is, we're going to agree to disagree, but let's do it civilly. The other thing I'm doing is I've been meeting with all the department heads across the county. When I was in corporate world, you got to know the business to help the business, and the same thing's true in the county. And the last thing is, I'm only on 4 committees, but I go to every committee meeting every month because it allows me to learn the business and ask good questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question will start with candidate Notke. What will be your budget priorities?
Oh, my God. Okay. I've got a good one. If we don't have the money, we can do one of 4 things. 1, print it. 2, steal it. 3, increase revenue. Or 4, cut spending. In the last 4 years, we have done nothing to cut spending. Is every worker in the county an essential worker? More and more things can be accomplished online, necessitating fewer employees in many departments like development, the treasurer's office, and the clerk's office. The board must exercise its oversight responsibilities and not just rubber stamp every request that comes before them. Reductions in new spending is not a cut. At the last board meeting, the finance director could not even answer the question of how many employees were added in the last year. If elected, I won't tolerate that.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard, same question.
The question's budget priorities.
What will be your budget priorities? Correct.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So the budget is an essential part of the county government, obviously. And I believe as a county board member, I have a fiduciary responsibility to treat the treasurer or the precious resources of the county with the utmost respect. I will ensure that all money is spent efficiently and in a manner that delivers the best results for the residents of Kane County. I will do so in a way that puts people first and ensure that I will not cut programs or services that our most vulnerable or working folks rely on the most. Finally, strategic investments so that we can look forward and prepare for air conditioners that stop working, bridge repair, all of those other items in a way that preserves our current fiscal responsibility, but also allows us to plan for the future. Thank you.
Candidate Roth, your budget priorities?
My budget priority is we need to take a close look at the budget. It's out of control the last 4 years. We have to look at expenses. A lot of my board members will say, well, we need to raise taxes. I always raise my hand. I said, we need to look at expenses. And it's more than just saying you need to look at expenses. We got to identify them. And by meeting with the department heads, I learn about some of the real issues that we don't get to the board. A lot of it's filtered. I've identified some potential savings. For one thing, the county hasn't ever finished updating LED lights. I brought it up as an issue, and I kind of get a blank stare from a lot of the boards. It's like, well, what are we going to do about it? Well, that's where we need to take the leadership and save money. It's also, I think we need to improve on our reporting. I was a finance major in IT, and I actually did the first budget system at Sears, and our reporting is very laxing. We need to get where we get not data, but information. So that's what I plan on doing.
Thank you. Candidate Berman, your budget priorities.
The question, what was the question? Oh, budget priorities.
Yep.
I'm really proud of my chairmanship of the finance department for the last year. We have come up with a balanced budget, and we have answered all the unfunded mandates put upon us by the state of Illinois. You know, the county has not had a tax increase in 13 years. Now, I've been retired for 26, and I've got a cost of living raise every year for the 26 years. So we haven't even got that in the county. So here we are. We have to look for new ways of getting revenue. And so for that, we are planning to go out to the referendum to allow us to increase our sales tax by 0.75%. But I think, very good, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard, what is your vision for increasing transportation options in Kane County? Does your vision include making transportation more accessible and biking and walking easier?
I don't think my mic, oh, now it is. Wonderful. I was waiting for the green light to go. Pedestrian safety and functionality is absolutely a cornerstone of my campaign. I do plan on working with the county to increase pedestrian safety. I was driving down Randall and saw senior citizens walking along the shoulder. That is no way for our seniors or our children to get from point A to point B in our wonderful county. I want to improve our bike path functionality, connect western bike paths with eastern bike paths so we can get from one side of the county to the other. And I want to make sure that we have safe crosswalks, especially at dangerous intersections, Kirk Road and 64, Fabian and 31, places where if you go on Facebook every day, you see a car accident, someone hit, someone in an unsafe position. And that's just not how the 5th largest county in Illinois should deal with pedestrian safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Roth?
I'm actually on the Transportation Committee, so I've been learning as fast as I can the ins and outs of transportation. One of the issues we face as a county is, depending on what road, you got to follow certain rules. Candidate Rivard mentioned Kirk and North Avenue. That's a state road intersection, so their rules control a lot of that. I was approached by one of the St. Charles alderman persons regarding crosswalks. There aren't any, and we got to work as a county with the state to get that passed. One of the state's rules is they only normally will put a sidewalk on one side of the road. That's a poor example for that intersection because there is only one, and it makes it unsafe for people crossing. So I'm trying to work with our county transportation department. How can we get that fixed? Because safety should be number one.
Thank you. Candidate Berman?
What's the question?
What is your vision for increasing transportation options in Kane County? Does your vision include making transportation more accessible and biking and walking easier?
You know, Kane County has plans out that go out to 20 years for improvements, safety, and to increase traffic flow. And, you know, having accomplished something in the roads and transportation doesn't happen overnight. The training the transportation department is doing, it takes 5 years to do if you're going to move something, it takes 5 years to procure the land and do the engineering for that process. So they have plans out 20 years into the future as to what we would like to see in the county to improve our safety, to improve the road, and improve traffic along the way. So I think the county and our KDOT is doing a fantastic job of working with the funds that they get. Most of the money from the KDOT comes from federal and state grants. It doesn't come from the county. So we're very happy to produce that. We've got great people, great staff, and we've done a fantastic job over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Notke?
First and foremost, we need to leave the money that's in the RTA tax for the town transportation department in the transportation department. At one point, the county wanted to use it to help balance the budget. That was a wrong thing to do. That would have long-term, but not beneficial effects on the county and on the roads. Pedestrian safety and traffic are critical issues facing every city. We need our police to do more about cracking down on cell phone use while people are driving and speeding. I drive up and down Randall Road several times a day, and I'm doing speed limit, and they're passing me like I'm standing still, and then they're giving me the finger because I'm not going fast enough? How many times do you sit at a stoplight and the light changes and the person in front of you sits there because they're busy on their phone? We need to crack down on that if we want safer roads. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question starts with candidate Roth. What programs has Kane County implemented to help the unhoused? Is there more that the county can do with regard to this issue?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. What program has Kane County implemented to help the unhoused? Is there more the county can do with regard to this issue?
Yes, there is. One example, by meeting, with some of the departments regarding housing, a lot of our funding's at the federal level. And one of the programs the county has is we will buy dilapidated homes and redo them, and then for first-time buyers, subsidize for first-time buyers. And I actually requested of the person of that department, there was 2 homes in Geneva on the east side over by their fire station. And it was one house, they tore it down, they built 2 houses. The normal value was over $450,000. They allowed 2 first-time buyers to buy it for a subsidized interest-free loan, that when they go to sell, they have to pay it back to the county so we can reinvest it. Unfortunately, we're only doing about 15 houses a year, which is not enough. So we need to try to improve on that process and to get more. Housing is not cheap right now. It's going through the roof. And it's really hard for people to find jobs. The other thing is for companies. We're trying to help companies to get affordable housing. The price of homes in like St. Charles, where I live, has gone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Candidate Berman.
The question was, what is programs implemented to help
To help the unhoused.
the unhoused? We don't really have an opportunity in the county to control everything. We'd like to, but we don't. Municipalities are the ones that control most of the building in the county. And I think their development and the developers are the ones that determine what the requirements are going to be and what they can develop. I think they need to obtain federal funds and other state funds to allow them to do affordable housing. But I think as a county, I don't think we have control over that. Now, we may take some tax dollars, some of your tax dollars, and provide for housing, but I think it's more of on the state level and the municipalities and then federal level. Thank you.
Candidate Natke.
The existing infrastructure and state law effectively requires affordable housing to be addressed by individual municipalities and not by the county board. But the county can and should offer communities staff assistance in creating their own affordable housing plan. A recent proposal to build county-sponsored affordable housing in unused commercial parking lots is a legal and jurisdictional non-starter.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard.
Thank you for the question. Oh, there we go. Thank you for the question. The unhoused population, it does not simply, what we're seeing is the back end of a mental health crisis. You don't just become unhomed because you've lost your job. There are other symptoms involved. And I think that investment in mental health across the board and making sure that our health department is resourced to help these folks and to help with substance abuse issues as well will help cull some of the unhomed in our communities. I also believe in building attainable housing. The county could look at ways to streamline zoning, work across government lines with municipalities to make sure that the housing that is built is attainable, because attainable housing is the key to getting on the property ladder. So a multi-pronged approach of mental health investment, rezoning, and working with our municipalities and state partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Berman. What portions of the recently adopted Climate Action Implementation Plan would you support being put into effect during the next 4 years?
I think the plan, as it's put together, is a suggestion for the future. To the best of my knowledge, we do not have any active involvement for the next 2 years. other than what we've done from the standpoint of, we're looking at doing everything green. Every construction that we do is, it has to meet the standards of green. So I think that's the thing that we've done. There's an added cost to this area also. So we talk about revenue, we talk about expenses. It's not cheap to take care of our building and whatever. So we don't have any plans that I'm aware of, definitely for the next 2 years that would.
Thank you. Candidate Notke.
Solar power is a great idea, but the indiscriminate placing of them throughout the county is a recipe for disaster. While the average life on these solar fields is roughly 20 years, there is no plan on disposing of these panels when they are no longer viable, creating an environmental nightmare. The tree ordinance as presently drafted would require property owners to acquire a permit to cut down a dead tree in their yard. It would also require you, the homeowner, to replace that dead tree with thousands of dollars of new landscaping, creating an unfunded mandate, again, for the taxpayers. Again, we need to be more cognitive of the end game when planning for our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard.
Thank you. I do believe that we should focus on the end game, and that end game is climate change. And it is an actual thing that's happening, not only in our county, but across the country and across the world. Ask the farmers who wish that it would rain more. Ask the folks in Asheville who wish it would stop raining. And then my children, as I spend evening after evening this summer in the basement, assuring them that those tornado sirens aren't really going to be a problem for us. So I am on board with the Climate Action Plan and implementing as many things as possible, as quickly as possible. I would like to see the replacement of old fleet vehicles with new EV or hydrogen-powered vehicles. I would like to see native plantings along the side of our road, which would reduce phosphorus in our rivers, would also reduce the amount of money and time spent mowing and maintaining those areas, as well as increasing the pollinators. And then I would like to move towards more EV chargers and clean energy solutions for our own county buildings and properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Roth.
I'm actually on the energy environmental, and I try to bring a lot of times to that meeting a sense of reason. What was passed for the Climate Action Plan was 155 recommendations. And my approach to it is we got to do it where we can afford it. We do not have an unlimited budget, and it's great to have a dream, but how are we going to execute it, especially in the next 4 years? And one of the biggest things we can do as a county, and the least expensive, and this came out in a report 2 years ago, which I used last time with the League of Women Voter, is planting more trees. That's the biggest, and it's the most cost-effective. And we can't do everything. We don't have the money to have an electric car in every garage or a solar panel on every house. It's not affordable. We don't have the money. The price of electric cars have gone up. It's a lot more than cars, probably about 4 times for what I bought my car with 4 years ago. So I'd love to get an electric car. I can't afford it, and nobody else can.
Thank you. Candidate Notke, do you support the Kane County Forest Preserve District's referendum?
Yes, but I think we've got right now about, I think about, and I know there's people here that would know that answer. We have a lot of forest preserve, but it's kind of a willy-nilly mix. You don't really see a lot of the availability of being able to coordinate bike paths between all of them. Every piece of property we take off the tax rolls for forest preserve is money coming out of your pocket to supplement them. The referendum that they've got on the ballot now is a very small amount, and it's mostly for upkeep. So in that sense, I do support the one that's currently available.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard.
Thank you. I do support the referendum for the forest preserve. I think that investing in our forest preserves just reinforces the beauty that is Kane County. It's why we all moved here. That's why we've become the 5th largest county in the state. The natural space, the green space, the forests. I believe that this referendum will allow the Forest Preserve Board to make small purchases over the course of the next decade or two to ensure that when we do build these new attainable homes, they are built in a way that respects our environment. Recently, there was a situation in St. Charles where they were going to build a new housing development out in LaFox. I don't know if anyone saw that. It got a lot of attention. I believe that thankfully, it was not approved by the city of St. Charles, and that has now been put on the shelf. But I would like to see the county use these monies to make sure that sprawl doesn't happen. We buy that land, save it, maintain it, respect it, and then look to build infill housing in our already existing urban areas.
Candidate Roth?
The Forest Preserve referendum will initially raise people's taxes $30 a year. In 2 years, when the Forest Preserve pays off the bond, it will actually go down. We'll be paying about $2 less than we currently pay. So it's a 2-year hit, and we have 26,000 acres in the Forest Reserve. 5,000 is currently not developed because they don't have the resources to convert it to a natural type. The thing that a lot of people don't realize, it's a nonstop effort to keep a forest preserve a forest preserve. Invasive trees are always invading, and you always have to battle it. When you drive and see a grove of trees, 90% of them are probably invasive trees. They're that invasive. So we need to use the money, to get more. Once the land's gone, it's gone. But we need to work smart. The Forest Reserve has a good financial situation. We need to continue to keep it that way.
Thank you. Candidate Berman?
I vote in favor of that with the Forest Preserve District and also the county board. Kane County is really much more advanced than most of our surrounding counties. Although I did notice last week that DuPage County some donor gave them, I think, $100 million to buy acreage for the Forest Reserve. So we need more of those type of people in Kane County. But no, I'm in favor. We've got a great Forest Preserve District. We've got more parks and more land and more things to do. People just don't take advantage of it. There's so much out there for us to look at and for us to do. So, but we also have all kinds of choices. So, but it's there, and I'm really proud of our Forest Preserve District.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard? How would you improve communication with your district's constituents to make them more aware of the work done by the county board and to enlist their support?
Sorry, just making a note. I believe that communication is the #1 job of an elected official. I go to door to door. I've been to every precinct 3 times already in this election cycle, and I plan on going 3 more times in the next 37 days. I've been at thousands of doors, not only in my district, but throughout the primary season across the county itself. I will regularly meet with my constituents, with my partners in municipalities, and with my partners at the state and federal level as well to make sure that we are delivering a Kane County that works for everyone. We can move forward. And the key is communication, because that void of communication is where conspiracy and a suspect breeds. And so by meeting with folks on a regular basis, informing them with the facts, we can work to cool the temperature at the county board and deliver a Kane County that everyone can enjoy.
Candidate Roth?
I've been concentrating for the less than 2 years I've been in office. I try to return every call I get to my voters, even if the voter isn't in my district, because I support all of Kane County. And the first thing I tell people when they call and they have an issue, I said, I'm not going to make any promises, but let me see what I can do. And then I make sure I follow up that, okay, somebody from the county, if it's a county issue, comes back. If it's not a county issue, I let them know. That's the city. You got to go to the city. It's important. I go to a lot of meetings, whether it's at the Forest Reserve or at the city level or the state, because it's the best way to meet your voters. You never know where you'll meet. And it's gotten to the point where, well, you're at every meeting I ever see. And it's like, well, that's my job, to communicate to the people.
Thank you. Candidate Berman?
The question again?
How would you improve communication with your district's constituents to make them more aware of the work done by the county board and to enlist their support?
I wish they'd all give me their email addresses so I could communicate with them on a daily basis. But I don't have that. So it's very difficult. We use everything we can in the way of our new media to come up with, but it's impossible to get to the population. Yeah, before we had newspapers. I think we still have newspapers, but no one seems to read them. Most everybody gets their education over the television, and I guess it's really expensive to try to get your point across and get what you do across to all the constituents in your area. And walking door to door, it sounds good, but you can't hit everybody. You can't. And we're selective in who we call on, whose door we knock on. We're looking for people that are going to vote for us, and that's what it is. But I'd love to be able to send the information out to every constituent in my village. Thank you.
Candidate Nike.
I think one of the first things the county needs to do is start making every board member attend in person. The fact that we have committee meetings that never see a quorum and have to be continued, or we have a county board, full board meeting that goes on for 5 or 6 hours, and people on the board have to leave because of other services that are other things that they have to do, and then we have to adjourn that meeting and postpone it and finish it 2 weeks later is ridiculous. It's a terrible thing to do. We need to shorten those meetings. We need to demand that people show up in person for those meetings. You ran for the office. You ran to be there. You represent your constituents. You can't do it from home. You can't do it from your office. You have to do it in person. That needs to stop now. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're not referring to your opponent either, are you?
No, you go.
Thank you.
You don't fall asleep either. No.
Candidate Roth. Candidate Roth, what are the most pressing issues facing Kane County during the next 4 years, and how would you respond to those issues?
I think the most important is the county has to figure out our financial. We're in a mess, and we just keep Band-Aid. We need to make the hard choices, which is either you're going to raise taxes, or you're going to cut expenses, or a combination. We also need to get more efficient. Some of the things, being an IT expert, in fact, I'm considered the IT expert on the board the first month I joined. I'm finding very inefficient uses of processes. I worked with a good example of a bureaucratic company, Sears. I was always told when I was there, we've always done it that way. Well, some of the same answers we're getting at the county. I discovered we still have some departments using paper faxes. Well, it costs us more to run those than to go to internet faxing. And the response I get, well, we've always done it that way. Well, we got to stop that. And, Ms. Naki had mentioned about the meetings. We're very dysfunctional on the board. These meetings are too long. A year ago, I started timing them because I'm ashamed. Our record is now 6 hours and 10 minutes. And we almost beat it last week. With the continuation of the meeting, another 20 minutes, and we would have beat the record.
Thank you. Candidate Berman.
The question again?
What are the 3 most pressing issues facing Kane County during the next 4 years, and how would you respond to those issues?
The 3 most pressing issues. Finance is certainly a significant pressing issue. I think with this year, we're using $14-15 million of our reserves to balance the budget. We did that same thing last year. We can't continue to do that. So we do have to come up with a alternate revenue source. We gave an opportunity, the Finance Committee gave an opportunity to all the department heads this year to cut back on their budgets. We gave that same opportunity to all the elected officials to come up with a reduction in their budget. But we had a very slim response to that. So with that, our recommendation to the county board from the Finance Committee was balance the budget using our reserves. And we're going to have to continue to do that until we have some method of increasing our revenue. We can talk about cutting costs, but the majority of our costs are people. And we're cutting people, we're cutting services, and we're cutting people's lives. So there's more to it than you see in reading the paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Notke.
I think the most important issue, is it me again?
You need to get closer to.
Okay. First of all, I think the most pressing issue is the budget. I'm tired of the spend then tax mentality of the county board. We need to work with the elected officials to ensure that they get resources they need to run their office efficiently, all the while working within our means. Emergencies rise. We go through that in our own personal lives. We have to plan for that and be prepared. Our reserve funds should not be used to balance the budget. My opponent in the Finance Committee, of which he chairs, solution has been to use the county's reserve funds to balance the budget, essentially kicking the stand down the road. We need to be responsible to our constituents and understand in today's economy, we need to be frugal while being responsible stewards of taxpayers' dollars. All roads have an end. I also think that the opioid crisis is a serious problem in King County, and I'm proud of the work that our coroner, Rob Russell, has done and has shown extraordinary leadership. Along with the county's health department, they have made great strides to educate the public. As the opioid litigation continues at the national level, it is important that the board makes wise use of these settlement funds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Candidate Berman, do you support
Oh, I
the...
don't think I got a chance to answer that question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just, right?
Okay. I'm sorry.
correct.
I
All right,
marked-
yeah, right, we started, yeah. With
I
the-
marked you off.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, you're good. Maybe, we'll see if the answer, maybe I regret this. So, the most pressing issues at the county, right? Of course, the financials are going to be something that we need to focus on. And there's no panacea or a magic wand that I can wave or anyone else on the board can wave and make our financial process or problems go away. I wish there was. I wish there was a magic solution I could offer. This is going to take a multi-pronged approach. We're going to have to find new ways to raise revenue so it doesn't happen on the backs of the working class in Kane County, and it certainly doesn't work or fall on the shoulders of the employees of the county. No longer should they live with subsistence wages, and over the last 4 years, a lot of folks in the county have worked very hard to make sure that they were paid a respectable living wage. So looking at ways to make things more efficient, maybe as well as looking for new ways to raise revenues, I think are really, really important. I do want to touch on the opioid crisis. I hope there's a question about that, but I want to be respectful of the rules. Thank you.
Okay, Candidate Berman, do you support the Kane County Board issuing a Pride proclamation during June, which is Pride Month? Why or why not?
I don't understand the question.
Do you support the Kane County Board issuing a Pride proclamation
Proclamation? On
during
what?
June, which is Pride Month?
On Pride? Well, certainly.
Okay. And it sounds like we can use more of those kind of answers at actual meetings, right?
Certainly. Very definitely.
Candidate Narkey.
Yes, I think it was a good idea. However, I think it was a terrible idea that they waited a month later to actually make it Pride Month. So yeah, next time we need to be more efficient with that.
Thank you. Candidate Brevard.
I will always stand with our LGBTQ plus neighbors, families, loved ones, and members of our community. I will always support the Pride Proclamation. I know that that is the thing to do. I know there are folks that are on the board that do not support this and have had the opportunity to support this in the past and have decided to abstain from declaring that or their support for these folks, which just adds pressure to these already stressful lives. We need to build a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and a sense of welcoming. And I don't understand how 24 people on the board can't support a Pride Proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Roth.
I support all the legal rights that every group has. I don't necessarily think we need to be celebrating it. There's other groups that, we only honor veterans like for 1 or 2 days a year. And I think there's other groups that aren't supported at all. PSTD with the veterans is a major issue. And I think we need to look at it. Legally, everyone should have the same rights. We shouldn't have to be discussing what type of person a person is. And unfortunately, we're not there in this world, but that's what we need to work on, and not single out one group and say, okay, we're going to celebrate for a month.
Okay, so that's the end of our questions. So candidate Notke, would you like to give your closing statement? And candidate Notke is running for District 2.
Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters and everybody in attendance tonight. I'm a dedicated community advocate with over 3 decades of service in Kane County. I understand the financial struggles facing families and retirees as the cost of living continues to rise. I have consistently fought against out-of-touch policies, advocating for practical solutions that benefit everyone. Through my volunteer efforts, I have worked to protect my community, from fighting against intrusive development to stopping the proposed mega garbage dump siting in western part of Kane County when Settlers Hill Landing was scheduled to close. I have learned that it takes more than just saying no to accomplish something good. Instead, I've learned that the best way to win an argument is to present reasonable facts to the contrary. My passion for public service runs deep. As a lifelong volunteer, I have advocated for smart, responsible government. I'm ready to bring my common sense approach to Kane County and will represent everyone in District 2 with honesty, integrity, and dedication. And I ask for your vote for me, Ellen Notke, Kane County Board, District 2, on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rivard, who is a candidate from District 12. Your closing statement.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming here tonight on a Monday night. I really do appreciate it. This enthusiasm is fantastic. I am many things. I am a candidate for Kane County Board, District 12. I am a professor. I am a non-practicing real estate agent. And most importantly, I am a father to 2 wonderful, wonderful children who are watching, most likely on YouTube right now, because that's all they watch. All those different things require different skills, but I bring the same values to each and every one of those things. And values are really what are the guideposts so that you folks know what I'm going to do, regardless of what comes across the county board table. You will know that I will work with compassion, integrity, honesty, and I will represent everyone in our community at all times. I am so thankful for all of this. This is surreal to this day that I'm here. It's a humbling experience, and I certainly, I humbly ask for your support between now and November 5th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Candidate Roth, who is a candidate for District 12. Your closing statement.
Okay, I want to thank everyone who's here tonight. 2 years ago when I started running, someone asked me, why are you running for county board? And I came up with an answer very quick. I say, most people volunteer after they retire. I've been volunteering for 20 years with a lot of nonprofit groups. I'm treasurer on 2 nonprofits. And I made the commitment when I got elected to devote my time to it. That's why I retired. That's why I meet with everyone on the board. And I'm willing to admit, too, when I make mistakes. Because unfortunately, there's no mentoring when you get on the board. There's no training. So I will make mistakes, and that's how I tell people, that's how you learn is from your mistakes. But you got to be willing to mention them, admit to them. I bring a lot of skills. I was a finance major. I did financial systems and IT my whole career, and I'm bringing that skill set to the board. So I ask for your vote on November 5th.
Thank you. And candidate Berman for District 2, Kane County Board.
Thank you. I have proven my dedication to community. I have used my experience, my fiscal responsibility, and my leadership in all my elected offices. County government is not easy. Our board has 24 members with many single agendas. Kane County, and we have 10 elected officials, and each one of them has their own separate agenda. So Kane County has many fantastic employees, and our 17 department heads work hard for solutions to opportunities. Our county is run by committees, where all detailed information is garnered by staff, is discussed in the committee, and then passed on to the county board for a decision by the 25 county board members. We each get 1 vote. And I love being on the county board, representing District 2. I ask for your vote and support for all District 2 voters. My detailed service information and bio is available online if you'd like, and thank you and God bless. I have one other comment. I was thinking about this. This is my 16th election in 40-some years. Along that time, I've been under anesthesia 14 times for operations. Now, I don't know which one of those is worse, the operations or the elections.
The elections?
But I know one thing, I got more sleep when I was under anesthesia than I have at the county board. Thank you.
Let's all give these candidates a round of applause.
Enjoy all your water.
Pour bacon grease down. Oh, jeez. I forgot to wrap it. This meeting. Cheers, good luck. Good luck. Thank you so much for the work. I really appreciate your time.
But and when we were talking yesterday or Saturday, do you kind of have to put in some sense? You don't know what's happening.
It's been great.
Ready, so we're doing this next, right?
We're not county board, we're doing three minutes, yeah.
So you've got, I'm saying, can you have board district? Do we have board district? Let's talk.
No, just
And that means I can talk? Hot mic.
Candidate Engelhardt. You can go have a seat.
Is here okay?
Right there. Thank you. We're going to do a set of 3-minute statements from several different candidates. Kane County Board District 10, William Tarver, will give us a 3-minute statement. His opponent, Laura Curtis, opted not to participate.
Thank you. I want to first thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum and thank the citizens that are here tonight. Showing up matters, especially to events like this forum, enabling candidates to respond to questions important to our constituents. Unfortunately, I am limited to these 3 minutes. I invite you to reach out to me as I am your voice on the board and I'm ultimately responsible to you. Nearly 3 years ago, I decided to run for the county board after personally seeing the social and emotional impact COVID had on our community. Serving on the board has been a huge learning curve for me and impacts more areas in our lives than I ever realized. I have successfully balanced my service on the board while maintaining a full-time position as a middle school social worker and restorative practice facilitator. My professional skills have helped me to be an effective board member as I extended unconditional positive regard to all of my constituents while listening and responding to their concerns. I am proud of my work on the county board. I have supported solar fields that will save taxpayer dollars, gun safety programs to decrease incidents of accidental shootings, new voting machines to increase efficiency, preserve election integrity, and save taxpayer money. Pet vaccination programs to reduce fees for pet owners and senior citizens, set parameters that pre-qualify contractors, ensuring quality work and cost savings with the county's first responsible bidder ordinance, and reinvested millions of dollars in the community, offering protections for small businesses and community service organizations with the CARES Act and the American Rescue Plan funds. There is more work to do. The Public Health Department is moving to a larger accessible building with capacity to leverage technology and expand all health services and programs, including mental health supports. My priorities include balancing the budget and improved efficiency in operations while ensuring clean air, clean water, recreational spaces, public safety, and meet current and emerging needs of our community. In my first campaign, I pledged to make sure that Kane County is the #1 choice where people want to live, work, and play. I remain committed to that pledge and committed to you. Thank you for making this forum a priority and for showing up. Your next step is to vote. I am asking you to vote for me. Early voting has started at the Kane County Clerk's office in Geneva, and October 21st through Halloween, you can vote right here at City Hall in Batavia. On Tuesday, November 5th, you can vote at any polling location throughout the county. I hope you have a plan to vote by mail, vote early, or vote on Election Day, because your vote is your voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Kane County Board District 14, Brenda Engelhardt, will give her 3-minute statement. No response was received from her opponent, Jonathan Gripe.
Thank you. My name is Brenda Engelhardt, and I'm the Democratic candidate for King County Board District 14. And thank you to the League for putting on a forum. When we attend and we communicate, we bridge barriers. And thank you also for being here, because when you're here, we actually have a forum to have. So I have about 3 minutes, and I've got 3 areas I want to talk to you about. The first is to give you some background I am an educator and retired, but I want to give you the background about where I came from. Then I'm going to talk to you about a few of my issues. And the last thing I'd like to say is just why I think that I am the best person for this position. So I was born and raised in Lebanon, Indiana, and I went to school in Greencastle, DePaul University. And the reason I say that is because I am from a small town. I used to be a little ashamed of that. When you move to the city or the suburbs, you think of small towns. I'll tell you what I've learned in my maturity is that I was nurtured and small towns are wonderful. And as I went on to live in the city, I loved the city. That's where I really grew up and learned about diversity and culture and traditions that were outside of my own. I was a litigation, paralegal, and insurance defense litigation for 11 years, and that was a job, and I was good at it. I understand my way around court systems, clerk filings, and so on. Met my husband, and then 3 things happened. 4. I moved out to Kane County, where I have been now for 27 years in St. Charles, Illinois, and that is now my home and my roots. And having experienced other places and communities, I can say this is where I belong. And then I had kids. I had Alex, who's now 26, with a master's from Northern in history, and Annie, who's a social worker in Madison. And then I became a teacher, and that was my passion and calling. And this brings me to my issues. Number 1, I have seen firsthand in classrooms the increased mental health problems and consequences being truancy, behavioral issues, problems with academics. I went to a door and I talked about my issues, and the woman said, well, you know what, if you've got good parenting, you shouldn't need a mental health program. I can't tell you how many wonderful parents I've sat down with whose kids have needed guidance in mental health. It's an important area, especially with suicide. Unfortunately, St. Charles being known as per capita one of the highest rates of suicide. Okay, also very important to me is gun safety. Again, with youth, when we keep our guns safe, we keep our youth safe. Biometric gun safes. Finally, the forest preserves. We've heard a lot about it, and it seems to be a fairly non-controversial thing, which is amazing. The forest preserves have been my backyard. I have been an educator, and I hope my resume is going to be the kids. So if you know anybody in Geneva, talk to them, ask about Engelhart. But here's the deal. I am a communicator and I'm a bridge builder. And that's what I'd like to bring to the board so that we can actually accomplish and have solutions rather than just gripe and complain. My name is Brenda Engelhart, and I hope you vote for me. Kane County Board, thank you.
Thank you. As far as Kane County Board District 18, both candidates were invited. No response was received from Rick Williams, and Sandy Kazmarski opted not to participate. But now we get to hear from candidate Rob Russell, who is a candidate for the Kane County Coroner. We did contact his opponent, who said that she had a medical emergency. So, candidate Russell.
Thank you. First of all, I don't know what the problem is, but we should say a prayer for her. Hopefully she's okay. My name is Rob Russell. I've had the pleasure to serve you as your Kane County Coroner for the last 12 years. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, League, for hosting this. Ever since 2010, I've been involved with these things. I've not missed one. Isn't that right, Patty? I've not missed one because of the respect that I have for you guys. If you remember nothing else, though, about the coroner's office, please remember that the coroner in the coroner system in Illinois, and there are other systems across the nation, is a law enforcement officer with the same powers as sheriff. All coroners in the state wear a badge and are sworn. I am a big proponent of the team approach of building an organization. I've built an incredible team, and all the successes that we've had are a reflection of not only me, but all the team members in the team. I have 3 operational focus points that actually show what we've done and where I'm going to continue to do given your vote. The first one is advancing forensic excellence. The second is compassionate care for decedents and their families. And the third is implementation of community health initiatives. And under advancing forensic excellence, one of the first things that I'm going to continue to do is become and maintain a member of the Illinois Coroners Association. Why is that important? Because me as one person, have one mind and have one experience, but when you combine the other 101 coroners in it's a bipartisan organization, we are able to look at death and what we can do to make things better, and we do that. We have mutual aid agreements and all kinds of different things that we do together with training and whatnot. I'm also going to maintain the accreditation. You know, we were the first county in the state, county coroner's office in the state to become an accredited coroner's office. That's a huge accomplishment. There's been 3 or 4 other agencies across the state that are that way as well. And I want to maintain that state-of-art facility, you know, what offers compassion to the decedents and families and staff. And I want to continue by getting the forensic laboratory finished. Under compassionate care, you know, I've buried over 300 individuals that were forgotten. Forgotten, unclaimed, no more. I claimed them, and we buried them. You can judge a society how the society treats their dead. Implementing community health issues, we've been at over 50 different events in the last 6 months alone. We've handed out 1,500 boxes of Narcan throughout the county. I work with senior groups. We have something called a File for Life that puts on the refrigerator with medical history and prescriptions for EMS. We have a needle take-back program. If you have prescription needles and you need some place to get rid of them, bring them to my office. We'll get rid of them for you. And lastly, you know, violence in children, gangs, and bullying. I have partnered with Dr. Robert Renteria, who is a Latino author, to help combat that. Why? Because he has lived that. So I thank you. I ask you for your vote. Please vote by November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. Please applaud these candidates.
Thank you. I'm sorry it happened.
Oh, that's fine.
But I would ask.
We'll just start. Huh? Ask her. Yeah. Will the candidates for the county board chair please come on up? I know your name. Name's yeah. Okay, tell me your name. Corinne Puro. When you're ready.
My turn?
You ready? No,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yes,
you were-
I'm ready. Thank you.
So we are going on to the Kane County Board Chair, and we will start with opening statements. We'll start with Lance Bell.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, Pat, and to the League of Women Voters, everybody here in the audience, and those watching online. My name is Lance Bell, and I've been a citizen of Kane County for 15 years. I'm 55 years of age, and I've been married for 34 years. My wife and I have been blessed to have raised 8 daughters, 2 that we brought onto the planet, and 6 that we've been blessed with from the state of Illinois. From the time I've been 12, I've been a business owner. Started my first company then, sold it when I was 16, got a degree from the University of Missouri, and I have my MBA from Quantics University in Washington, D.C. I morphed from doing marketing into technology, where today I'm the CEO and Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer for a software company my wife and I founded 15 years ago. In addition to being a business owner, in 2018, my wife and I started a nonprofit ministry, Christian Leadership Ministries. We serve marriages and we serve foster kids all throughout the Fox Valley area. I'm on the board of directors for Christian Business Fellowship, where we help entrepreneurs throughout the world lead and start small businesses.
Thank you. Candidate Corinne Pirog.
Pirog, thank you very much. My family arrived here in 1890 seeking a better life. They came here most likely through New York and traveled here to Chicago, living on the South Side. My dad became a carpenter. He was going to be a musician, and he was not good enough to play, so he used his hands for carpentry. There's a building in Chicago that I go by every time. And I think of him, and I think of the legacy my family brought forward here to the Chicago area, him being the youngest of 7 boys. I didn't get a chance to know him very much. They divorced when I was very early, and he moved forward. But this legacy that I bring here to Chicago and to the Midwest, and now to St. Charles, is rich, it's deep. I'm a builder, I'm a creator. I support, in 1 minute, I support the opportunity for people to build their dreams in a very pragmatic and practical fashion.
Thank you. Candidate Pirog, how does your background and experience make you the most qualified candidate for county board chair?
Have a minute?
1 minute.
1 minute. All right, here we go. I started out as a teacher, middle school. There were about 40 different languages in the classrooms that I taught out in California. I came to New York to seek a better future for myself. I was the first college graduate from my family, graduating from the University of California, Irvine, went on for a master's degree at San Francisco State, and then went on when I went to New York to go to CUNY Graduate School for a PhD. Due to a divorce, I was not able to do that, but I continued my career in education, teaching speech, theater, as well as business communication. Through that, I became associate dean, but one day I got tired of teaching. Living in the South because of a brutal divorce, I moved on to economic development and fell in love. Through that, I finally came back home to St. Charles, where my family is settled, myself and my children. And I went on, when I was 50 years old, to get my MBA.
Thank you. Candidate Bell.
Thank you. My passion is relationships. That's part of the reason why my wife and I started a marriage ministry. In 2018, we published a book called The Marriage You Do Not Deserve, and we parlayed that into parenting, where we take on some of the largest, or I should say, the most challenging teenagers in the state of Illinois. We have a passion on serving other people. I lead leadership teams. I believe in the Socratic method. I love to work with individuals using questions to help them better understand the reality and help them to get to the point of getting answers and to help select the best one. That's where my skill set would be superior when it comes to leading the board. We have 24 board members, we have 7 direct reports, and we have 4 indirect reports. It's a large organization, there's a lot of complexities going on, and I'm well suited with my technology and business background to be able to lead Kane County for the next 4 years.
Thank you. Candidate Bell. Last year, Kane County began operating a solar field at the Judicial Center that will save taxpayers $5 million over the next 25 years. What other projects should the county consider during the next 4 years that will also help save county taxpayers money?
The expenses of the county have increased 87% in totality, and that's from a finance report that was put out just a few months ago. When you look at the sub-lines underneath total expenses, you see that that is an employee compensation and employee benefits. Recently, the finance director was asked what the current head count was within the Kane County, and an answer could not be brought forth. While there have been some employee raises that I do support, right now in Kane County, actually for 2022, the average compensation for a full-time employee is $58,000. For private individuals, it's $52,000. So the average Kane County employee makes more money than their private citizen counterpart. So I think that the opportunity and expenses has to be taken on. I think that an 87% increase in 4 short years is excessive, and that includes revenue increases that are comparable with both the state and the federal governments.
Thank you, Candidate Perot. The question was on how to increase revenue or increase opportunities.
Last year, Kane County began operating a solar field at the Judicial Center that will save taxpayers $5 million over the next 25 years. What other projects should the county consider during the next 4 years that will also help save county taxpayers money?
I'd like to earn Kane County's taxpayers' money. We've just started an economic development organization that's going to be going to the full board for their vote at the next board meeting in October. By allowing business growth to happen, we'll have more additional revenue. We'll have a balanced approach to how we're going to be using land and also preserving our farmland, which is about 50% of our current land space. They pay very little property tax, so the filtering and most of the impact is up and down the Fox River corridor for this business development. If we move away from this farmland, if we move from our soy and corn and crop development, we are going to lose a great opportunity because that's a rarity here for Kane County. So with economic development, with bringing business partners together, whether they're for the for-profit industries, they're the nonprofit industries, and our farming communities, we will not only earn more money, we will be better stewards of our prosperity.
Thank you. Candidate Perot, please share with us an example of a time when you disagreed with someone you were working with and compromised in order to accomplish a goal or fix a problem.
We have 24 board members, each one with their own unique opinions. One of the ways we got through as a team, truly as a team, where there was opposition, was when we started putting together the responsible bidder ordinance. Working with county board members, working with members of business, contractors, working with labor organizations, and working with our legal team. We refined and developed, brought forward to committee structure about the RBO, brought it back again. And now the county has passed it. This is enabling both business entity as well as our union entities and our building and maintenance for the county to have responsible opportunity to build it once, to build it under budget, and to build it correctly.
Thank you. Candidate Bell.
Thank you. In software development, especially today, there's more technologies available to us when it comes to the manufacturing of software. And oftentimes we get into conversations about the pros and the cons of the different technology and which one selected would be the best for the end user at that particular time or the audience. I, as the CEO of the company, I'm charged with looking 5 and 10 years down the road to see where that technology is going to go in order to make the best mid to long-term decision. My team leaders are responsible for the short term, the number of man hours it takes to develop a solution, the quality assurance and testing that has to go into that before something goes into full production. There's a balance between these two entities. And when working with my software development team leaders, we come together on consensus to find that sweet spot. Sometimes we fail, and then we pivot. And pivot happens a lot in life. We take risks, and we make things happen in order to better serve our customers. I would do that same thing in the Kane County Board.
Thank you. Candidate Bell. Kane County has sometimes been referred to as a sanctuary county. What does this mean? Is this an accurate description of the county's position? Why or why not?
In my opinion, it's not. Sanctuary has many layers to it. And for me personally, it's when an organization, a government organization, tells its police force that it will not honor retainers from the federal ICE division when it comes to hardened criminals. This is what happens in the city of Chicago every week. Criminals are let out of jail and let free on the citizens because the city of Chicago will not work with their federal counterparts. That does not happen here in Kane County. Conversely, Governor Rauner did not make Illinois a sanctuary state. That did not happen. What he did is prevented police forces, signed a law to prevent police forces from asking citizenship status. That's it. Here in Kane County, we have a serious situation ahead of us. In the Wall Street Journal, it was stated just a few months ago that there was a 4,000% increase in the number of undocumented workers who have moved here. That's in the national newspapers. That's going to be a big problem going forward.
Thank you. Candidate Perot.
Sanctuary County has been used as a term by Mr. Bell and his team to oppose me. There's been demonstrations, lines screaming at me. Recently, I've been told that the illegal migrants, or illegal aliens is the correct term, are going to be raping my grandchildren. It was a terrifying incident for me. But let me tell you that right now we have 130,000 students here registered in, 120,000 students registered in Kane County schools. Out of that, 1,300 voluntarily stated that they are migrants. My opponent recently has said that he wants to round them all up and ship them without their families to Chicago. I was aghast at this. Our migrants, whether they are documented or seeking legal status, are welcome citizens here as they'd be welcome citizens anywhere. They provide richness like my family did when they moved here in the 1890s.
Thank you. Candidate Perot. What's the biggest issue facing Kane County? Why is it the biggest issue? And what action should the county board take to address it?
There are 24 board members, each one with their own unique opinions. One of the things that there's a double layer is trusting each other, truly listening to each other, supporting each other, going into conversations, having previous knowledge and studying the project, the program. Now, it's very hard for them to do that because they all work or they have other opportunities, other jobs. But bringing them together, potentially to really understand what the impact of not having any tax increases in Kane County for 14 years is impacting not only the pressure that they find on this budget, but also the pressure that our citizens are facing. Recently, it was asked if we were going to be pulling money out of the RTA fund, which was going to defund facility. And what does that mean? That means for our seniors, the Ride and Cane program will be dissolved.
Candidate Bell.
There's a number of misrepresentations in the last statement. I think I'd like to address the last one. I've never stated that I wanted to round anybody up. There have been governors across the United States of America who have offered free transportation to areas, free or safe zones, and we've had people undocumented sign up to take on that free transportation. In a previous interview, I did offer to put together a program like that. It is far less expensive for the citizens of Kane County to help these undocumented folks get to a place where they can get the money, the housing, the services they need. Kane County does not have that. In fact, in the greater state of Illinois, we currently have 22,000 children who are looking for permanent homes. So I care about the financial well-being of the citizens in Kane County. I also care about the people that are here uninvited. And I'd like to get those people to a place where they can be safe. We don't have those places here in Kane County.
Thank you. Candidate Bell. How can we bring civility and common interest back to the county board meetings?
I've watched over 100 hours of county meetings on YouTube just this last year, and I don't see a great deal of lack of civility. As mentioned earlier, we have meetings that go a very, very long time. I asked the previous chair what an effective meeting time was, and I was told between 60 and 90 minutes when the agenda is sent in advance and everybody comes to the table knowing what the business of the county is. If you go to YouTube and you look at some of the committee of the whole or the full board meetings, you will see meetings that go 4, 5, 6, and 7 hours long. It's spectacular. When Mr. Dale Berman was up here earlier and there was a joke about him falling asleep, I have sympathy for him. If I was in a seat for 7 hours, I would probably fall asleep as well. So I believe the board should be run more efficiently, more effectively, and the work should get done because these county board members are part-time employees elected. They're part-time, they're not full-time.
Candidate Perot?
Some of our board meetings have agendas that are 2,000 pages. We've gone through some very difficult decisions-making. We've had lengthy conversations, whether or not we build a new health department building, whether or not we buy new voting machines because the previous ones were held with duct tape, and if we're going to be spending American Rescue Plan money on that, or are we going to divert it to something else? Are we going to be spending $23 million on mental health support? And how is that going to be happening? Are we going to be looking at affordable housing? How do we digress into working with each other when there's such a limited amount of resources and the tension is there for this? Plus, we have outside tension because of this election cycle that has happened, because it's been very, very divisive. We've had board members who I asked to, had enough speaking. They say, I have 10 minutes of time. And one of the issues was allowing non-US citizens to vote here in Kane County. And yes, that had a lot of discussion.
Thank you. Candidate Perot? Tell us about a time you helped someone in your community. What prompted you to do this and what was the result?
Oh, to give back, to give back. Currently, I've been asked to serve on the board, the executive board of Scouting America. And I was surprised at that, but I was absolutely delighted because I love to hike. I truly do love the outdoors. I love camping. I love the whole experience. But I'd like to tell you about something very simple. When you have a child growing up, they have friends. Well, this one friend's mother was suicidal. And she went to Elgin Mental Health Facility, and he was left by himself. I took him in. I took him in for the better part of 2 years. I'd send him back to his mom, clean clothes, new outfit, well-fed. And then she would happen again. This poor young boy was disastrous. But it was family love. It was Christmas presents. It was Easter. It was taking him with my son to the Boy Scouts. It was giving him a life. And one day he left because his mom returned back from Elgin Mental Health Facility. And I never saw him again. But during that period of time, let me just finish. I hope he realized there's people out there that love him and that can give him the strength and the courage to be able to go on.
Thank you. Candidate Bell?
It was about 7 years ago, the agency that we work with brought us a young lady who was 16 at the time, and they represented her to be the single hardest case in the state of Illinois. In fact, when she needed hospitalization, there was not a behavioral hospital in the entire state who would take her and to send her to St. Louis. Well, my wife and I stepped up to this opportunity, and we poured into this young lady. She had every diagnosis and a tackle box full of pills when she came to us. Again, that was at the age of 16. Today, she's 24. Last year, she gave us our second granddaughter. We have a grandson and a granddaughter, and she's engaged to be married and lives in Joliet. We get to see them all about twice a month. During COVID, I had an employee who was going to sleep under a bridge. I had a manager that was paying for hotel rooms at the Geneva Hotel in St. Charles, and he had ran out of money. And when I found this out, I brought this gentleman into my basement apartment, and I didn't put him up for a night. I put him up for over 3 months. I helped him raise money. I helped him get an apartment down in Batavia and get his life reset. My wife and I pour out to people all the time, and it doesn't matter who you are, situation, or age.
Thank you. Candidate Bell, what is your perspective on a proposed sales tax increase in Kane County?
2022, with data compiled by the Tax Institute and by NerdWallet, Kane County was the 32nd highest ranked county for total tax burden on its citizens. Those same two sources currently have us ranked 9th for 2024. There are two types of family here in Kane County. There are those who think that taxes are fine and they're okay. They're okay giving up a martini a week for taxes to go higher. And then I think there's the rest of us who feel the burden of everything that we've suffered over the last 4 years. So I'm against all tax hikes. Our county gets revenue, and that revenue goes up every year. It's actually listed in our other revenue. It's our county's percent portion of income taxes paid, 4.95%, and of the sales taxes that are collected at the state level. That number has gone up 31.36% over the last 4 years. The county's revenue goes up every year. Our problem is expenses are way higher.
Thank you. Candidate Perot.
Well, there's a couple things we can do. If the sales tax opportunity was not presented, then the board would have to seriously take a look at property tax, which I was not in favor of. The reason why is property tax levy has not been increased in 14 years, and we would only absorb about $2.4 million with that amount. Because we have not increased taxes in 14 years, and it's become a cultural icon now. Kane County doesn't increase taxes. Kane County has the lowest tax rate. I'm talking just the county, not schools, not municipal. Within all of the collar counties, we are the lowest. Counties that have less population than we do, McHenry and Kendall, we have a lower tax rate than they do. Right now, sales tax has gone up. The holiday sales tax in 21, right after is COVID, went up 12.7%. In 22, 5.4%. And then the retail tax in 23 is 3.8%. What we're asking for is 3/4 cent on a dollar purchase, meaning $100, you'd pay 75 cents.
Thank you. Candidate Perot, what motivates you to run for public office?
I tried to change St. Charles School Board. I was elected for 2 terms. And I was given quite an education with that on how to support schools and how to do it effectively. I advocated actually in 2010 to lower its tax rate. I was taken in the back room and yelled at, losing millions of dollars, I was told, but I said it was enough. City of St. Charles had enough revenue coming in to adequately pay for their schools. And then I was asked to run because of that for state senate. And that door opened. And between the economic development, my interest in working for not-for-profit organizations, and my sense of service, and loving to work with people in difficult problems, I let that door slam behind me and I entered in. Similarly, when I had my own business, I was asked to run for Kane County Board. And the person who was up here, the coroner, it was because of him, because of the deplorable condition that our people who were dying were put into, the families who were suffering for their families, the dead ones, and had to go into a morgue that was an old washroom that smelled. I went, this is not Kane County.
Thank you. Candidate Bell.
Yeah, I believe I finally have awareness on our different views on taxes. It's not the county portion that I have to pay. For my home, we just crossed the $10,000 mark for annual property taxes. And if I were to go into Chris Lawson's office and cut him a check for the $600, which is the county portion, and ignore the rest, I think I'd be in trouble. Families in Kane County pay the entire bill. And in Kane County, it's death by 1,000 taxes. That's the problem. And so why did I get involved in this? This is another ministry field. I was challenged to get involved with this. I'm great working with people. And this election is incredibly simple. If you think your taxes aren't high enough, I'd ask you to vote for my opponent. If you feel the pain of everything that's happened the last 4 years, including inflation, the unfunded mandates from Springfield, and the total tax bill that we suffer across income tax, sales, and property taxes, then I'm here to make sure they all stay in alignment.
Candidate Bell, government must ensure that everyone is treated in a fair and equitable way. What will you do to make that happen?
Make sure that everybody's constitutional rights are abided by, are respected. I think that's a very important issue. It's one that's come up this year. The board has many committees, and when there's a problem with anything that's going on in the county specific, those issues are supposed to be brought through those committees, not going around the board, not going around the state's attorney's office, not inventing areas like a First Amendment area separate from the public walkways. I will protect the rights of every Kane County citizen, everybody who's here, and make sure that everybody gets the quality of life and the services from the county that they deserve.
Candidate Perot.
Could you do me a favor and repeat the question?
Government must ensure that everyone is treated in a fair and equitable way. What will you do to make that happen?
Thank you. I'd like to start from the compensation we had for our employees. As a woman, it is noted and well documented that women make less than men, 75% to 80%. That was the issue in Kane County. We had women who were working, who were making subpar wages and had to actually have on food stamps, and these were long-term employees. Our state's attorneys, many of them women, had to work second jobs at Pottery Barn or Crate and Barrel because they were not making enough money. They were making $45,000 to $50,000 a year as an attorney. So they would flip jobs, and they'd go to DuPage, they'd go to Kendall, they'd go to Will or Cook, where they would make a significant more amount of money. When I hired our chief financial officer, she came and said with a lowball number humbly, and I went, that's not the salary you deserve. That is not comparable to what other people make. And shockingly, I said, I'm going to make you ask for more to show respect of that job.
Thank you. Candidate Perot, what is your opinion of the separation of church and state?
They're separate. They're guaranteed separate. If you're a Muslim and you come in here to the county, you're welcomed. I support you. I support your beliefs. If you're Jewish and you come in here to the county, I support you. I support your beliefs. If you're Christian, you do not dominate, but you share the responsibility of having a faith that has been integrated and built on many different faiths. I'm Catholic. I respect Christianity. I respect Judaism. Because all together, we work together with one faith for the betterment of mankind. We all have similar prayers for the betterment of mankind. The separation of church and state work together in different ways. One takes care of the soul. The other one takes care of your life, your daily life, roads, transportation, buildings, schools, healthcare.
Thank you. Candidate Bell.
The First Amendment makes clear that the government shall not establish a church, establish a religion. And that's the beginning and the end of the conversation regarding the church and the state in the Constitution. I would support and respect any individual in a government entity, regardless of whether they had faith, what that faith was, or they didn't have faith, be irregardless when it comes to county business.
Thank you. Let's go to closing statements, and candidate Bell, you're first.
Again, appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. This was enlightening for me. The first step, or the first most important thing in leadership, is understanding and defining reality. And I've heard many of my opponents tonight all say the same thing. Your taxes aren't high enough. I've shown the numbers, the statistics, where you all can go get the same report I did. The revenue goes up, but the expenses have exploded. And that's the decision that every family has here in Kane County. Do you want, there's a false dichotomy that's also been presented to you. That you only have two choices. Either your taxes go up or your services go down. At no point do my opponents ever share the third choice, the real choice, and that's that government must be made to be more efficient. The Kane County government is not the employment center for Kane County. The explosion in headcount is unjustified. Our population has only grown 0.25% in the last 10 years. It's time for better leadership. It's time to get Kane County back on track.
Thank you. Candidate Perot.
Thank you. I'm running for re-election because there's still much to accomplish and much to complete. Supporting the board's public health initiatives to help quell the fentanyl and mental health crisis is one of my main concerns. I'm a complete support of the increase of fentanyl throughout our communities, as well as supporting the forensics lab. Another is balancing the need for growth versus the preservation of the county's thriving agricultural industry and conservation of our open space. Other next steps including updating the county's 2014 strategic plan to represent our current and future obligations, launching the county's first economic development organization, fostering the work of the county's 1,300 employees by assuring pay equity both internally and externally to maintain the best talent to serve the needs of our county, providing the necessary resources for Kane County's Department of Transportation so our roads and bridges remain in good repair and sustain future transportation needs, and encouraging the board to develop and maintain strong and balanced fiscal policies.
Thank you. Our time is up for this forum. For more information, please visit the Nonpartisan Voter Guide, illinoisvoterguide.org, the candidates' websites, as well as the League of Women Voters of Central Kane County, League of Women Voters of Aurora, and League of Women Voters Elgin websites. Your participation as a candidate and as a voter is essential to preserving the democracy we hold dear. Please remember to vote on or before November 5th, as one vote can decide the election, and that one vote could be yours. Let's give them a round of applause.
One minute is very hard. Oh my goodness, 1 minute is impossible. I know, and we always, and